So my name is Tori Hicks. I use she, her pronouns, and I am a second year university student. I'm 19 now, which is crazy. And I'm originally from Hanover, Ontario, which is in the middle of nowhere and nobody ever knows it. But I moved to Fredericton, New Brunswick in 2019 to start university. I wasn't a huge fan of school for a really long time. Growing up, my favorite subjects have always been English and drama. I actually originally applied to schools based off of drama rather than based off of what I'm in now, which is leadership at Renaissance College. But I loved like the escapism that you can get through English classes and the way that you can sort of turn yourself into a different character and building a whole different world through stage acting. I thought that was always really awesome. I think probably like getting through middle school for me was a really big challenge. I was bullied in middle school, as many people are, and I was going through a lot of stuff with identity crisis at the time. I'm a queer woman, and I was sort of realizing, like, going through puberty, like, oh, there's something different here than from, other people in my class. And I was already being bullied. So I was kind of like, I'm just going to push this deep in. We're going to repress this. Like, I didn't have any friends. So I was just kind of like, okay, this is great. And it ended up, it's, it got better, which I think is a really important message for a lot of people. But by the time I got to high school, I was just in a situation where I was with the same class from kindergarten through grade 7. And it was just people who didn't like me and who weren't ever going to like me. And it wasn't an issue with me, it was definitely an issue with them and their perception of me. And there was nothing that I could do about that. So I had to change my situation instead of changing myself. So I did, and I ended up making friends because people tend to like me, which is something that I've struggled with still. I'm like, oh, you want to be my friend? Okay, cool. Why? But it was a really tough time. And it, as a kid, you don't sort of think like, oh, obviously it's everybody else. That's the issue. You're like, oh, yeah, it's me. I'm doing something wrong. So it was a really big learning experience, I think, just to sort of be like, okay, yeah, I can always change my situation. I can always go somewhere else. I can always meet somebody else. Like, the world is so big and so wide. I can always change everything in my life if I want to, but I'm stuck with myself and I'm never going to be anybody else. So I might as well like the person that I am. Definitely my family was my biggest support group ever. I'm really close with my parents. I was an only child for 12 years. So we really had like a really strong system of, I always knew that I could rely on them no matter what. I could tell them anything. And then I have a cousin who's sort of close in age to me. So she was my best friend. She's still my best friend. We talk every day. But like having her was a really big deal because I was like, okay, no matter what, like on Easter, I'm going to see Anna and it's going to be okay because we're going to hang out and it's going to be fine. And then once I was a bit older, um, going online and like joining fan groups of like Harry Potter and Divergent and stuff. And it sounds so nerdy. And so like, but I was like, yeah, these are people that enjoy the same stuff as me. So I would like talk on fan sites about like, I just read this book. Let's talk about it. Let's dissect it. Like, cool, we can all escape into the same universe and sort of like feel good about that. And then I can go and like know when I'm in school, I get to go home and like talk to my parents, and I get to talk to people online, and I get to like talk to my cousin. So it's going to be okay. And then later on, once I came out, in school, having a gay straight alliance, which was what our school called it, but just like a really safe place for queer students was such a huge deal. And it was such a really good thing for me to have during my coming out experience because, I was talking to adults who knew what I was going through, were accepting of it, like sort of keeping an eye on me and making sure, like, okay, she is like going through it. We know that she's going to be okay. So that was a really big deal for me as well. I think the best advice that I could give is like, there's always going to be something else that you can do. Like, when you feel so hopeless, you have to know, like, there's always going to be another day. There's always going to be another situation that you can put yourself in. Whether that's, for me, it was changing classes, getting in with a different group of people. For a lot of people, it's changing schools, just changing something in your life to make your situation a little bit better. And, I would just say find something that you like and do it, and just keep doing it, whether that's writing or dancing or painting or acting or doing math equations. Like, find that thing that you just enjoy doing, whether or not you're good at it, and just do it as much as you can, because that escapism saves lives, personally, I think. My first love. I don't know if it's so much of a who, but rather just like books have always been my first love, I would say. My parents read to me all the time growing up, like we've said already, but just there is something so magical about books, and something about holding a book and reading a book or having a book read to you, and just the art of storytelling and hearing words and then being able to see them in your mind and build this whole new world, or go back in time and like hear the stories of people who are long since dead. Like, something about that has always just captured me and made my life so much better through reading. My current favorite book, again with the hard questions. I really like anything by Rainbow Rowell. She's an author. She wrote like Eleanor and Park is a book that she's really well known for, but I really like her book Fangirl. I took it with me when I went to university because I just like the main character. I identify with her so much. She's a nerd and she has trouble making friends. And I was like, I see you. I feel you. I am you. So I definitely like, I felt so much of her emotions when I was reading that book. And it was so great to read it and sort of be like, okay, I'm going to be okay because this person is so much like me and she's okay. And like, she got through it. So I can get through